share your story of how sewing became a passion of yours.
It became a passion. Firstly, I used to watch my mom, because back in the day, people used to sew at home, and it was like a regular thing, and people used to make clothes from their homes, and obviously it went into factories and into different countries, and so people don't do a lot at home anymore. So that's first of all where I saw it, where I witnessed it, and I was interested in it. But what it was for me was a way of being fly, a way on a budget. It was also a way of me finding peace, because it's very therapeutic, and it's also when you make something, or when you put something in your mind, you say, okay, I'm going to do that. It's a determination as well, and it's like a progress, and it's a sense of achievement as well when you finished. So that was something that kept me going. And then I had other issues as far as when I was young. I was burned in a fire when I was 4, and so I was in and out of hospital and all this kind of stuff. And it is a very down time in your life. But sewing for me was something that lifted me up, and it was something that was safe, and I found a lot of joy in it. So from that point of view, that's what really introduced me to sewing, what kept me going, and that's why I teach it now, because there's lots of negative situations in this world, and to have something to do that's positive and helpful, and then it's something that can last you throughout your whole lifetime, So that's why I continued with sewing.
Yeah. This go back. You said and just share a little bit, because I never really knew the whole story. I knew that something happened when you were younger, and you explained that you were in a house fire at 4 years old. Share how that transition was for you. Do you remember it at 4 years old?
I remember it like it was yesterday. Right. But luckily, by the grace of God, it's not like a horror story in my head. It's a happening. And obviously, at the time, it was very devastating for me, my family, and all concerned. But it's not something that has twisted me up so bad that I'm unrecognizable. So basically, we were all kids. We were unsupervised. And my parents were downstairs, and they were doing their thing. They didn't get along very well, and they had their own issues. And we were just upstairs playing, but we had this heater, and the heater was, it was an electric one. It's actually outlawed now in England. They don't have it anymore. It had like little rods that heated up, but there was no protection over those heated rods. So you could put your hand in there, you could put paper in there, you could do whatever you wanted to. Well, of course, we're up in the bedroom, 3 of us, kids, unsupervised. So we're throwing paper in there and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And like flames and fire is really, really enticing, really beautiful. So we'd sit there like, ooh, mesmerized by these flames. Because it doesn't look harmful, obviously. It looks really nice. Yeah. So we're doing all this. And then, basically we're watching paper burn to the end of the, twist up these little pokers of paper. We're watching it burn to the end, and it burned to the end, and it got thrown, and it landed on me. And so, poof.
Wow.
I went up in smoke, and I remember I was screaming, obviously, like shock, pain, everything. And my mom was downstairs, and she was very heavily pregnant with my younger sister, who you know. So, them two were embroiled in there yet another like scramble fight craziness, and my mom was like, the kids are screaming. He's like, they're always screaming, and she was like, no, because mom, you know the difference, you know that voice, you know the difference. So she's running up the stairs, and she's greeted by me standing at the top of the stairs like flames, just flames. So she's screaming. But luckily, she acted really quickly, and she just ran up the stairs without any fear, and she just grabbed me, and I was small enough. She threw me into a sink, not a bath, into a sink, and just doused water all over me. And I remember she put on this green cardigan sweater thing, and got that wet and put it on me and stuff. And then the next thing I remember was going into an ambulance, and I passed out. At that point, I passed out. Once they start putting the masks and all the rest of it, I passed out. So, yeah, it was
So what was the transition like? Do you have to go through multiple surgeries, going through school? How was that for you? Because the reason why I'm asking you this, because when people meet you, you have such a high sense of yourself, so confident, so you can tell, nobody can tell you nothing. So, but a lot of people have could have, and some may have allowed tragedies like that to overtake them and give them so low self-esteem, not feeling good about themselves. What was that transition like for you with the surgeries, going to school? What gave you that confidence in yourself?
It was like a one time defining point, and this is another thing that I'll always remember. I did go through the stages where I was down, I was depressed, I was back and forth from hospital, I was missing out on school. So every time I came back to school, I was the new girl on the block. I was, scorned, laughed at. It was really, really bad, and I got to the point where I was saying, okay, I'm checking out. I'm out of here. I want to leave, and so I made up my mind to take my own life, and there was a day when the family was around and we were all sitting in the watching TV, because that's when families used to sit down together and watch TV. Now they're all over, everyone's all over the place. Right, so we was all sitting down watching TV, and I just broke away from everybody and went into the kitchen. And so, but I knew what I was trying to do. I knew and I wasn't going to sit down and say, "Oh, by the way, I'm about
trying to kill myself." Yeah.
So I went into the kitchen. I went into the drawer, took out a knife, had it up to my wrist, because it was my intention to cut my wrist. But at that time, I had an out-of-body experience. So that's when God came, and I guess He snatched me out of myself, and I was looking down at myself. But He showed me the picture of me actually dead, with the blood and the people running in from the screaming and the family's reaction and the whole 9 yards. And that's when I understood that there was people out there that cared for me, that would be bothered by what I did. And so I kind of made a pact with myself that I could either. I didn't have the guts to kill myself because I didn't want to upset my family and stuff. And then it is pretty gory for, you to come in and a member of your family's taken their own life, and you're in that same house with them. That's a lot. That's a lot. So I didn't have the courage to do it. And I decided I could either kill myself, which I couldn't do. I could either live and be really miserable, be like a little wallflower, hide from everyone and do all that stuff. That just is not, it's not going to help you. It's not going to bless you. It's not going to bless the people around you. So my third option was to live the best life I could possibly live and not give a hoot about what people thought I ought to be, how I'm supposed to react to you, be negative towards me, how I'm supposed to know my place as far as you're in this box, you've got to stay in that box and you can't come out. So I decided that I was going to live the best life I could ever live, and I've never looked back. And I make a conscious effort to do that. You know what I mean? The situations that you can go in that are like people don't like your job, or people are making fun at you, and it's like, what am I actually here for? You have to ask yourself questions like, what am I actually here for? Am I here to please you, or am I here to get my paycheck so I can go and do something fabulous with my?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at it like that. You have to look at it what's in it for you. And if I'm going to be negative about it, if I'm going to then it's like whoever this person is or whoever this ideal is won. And I'm bowing down to something that's got nothing at all to do with me. Because inside I am happy. A lot of people are born with joy, you know what I mean, with happiness inside them. Or everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to have a good life. But you've got to make a conscious effort to do it.
Exactly.
And it's a daily thing. It's daily. It's daily.
It is.
Sometimes
really is.
you can be comfortable or things are going really well for you, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh, this isn't happening. You focus on the smallest thing, and that smallest thing will become major and can take over everything. I'm like, no, I'm cutting that out. And if it's not going to edify me or build up somebody else, I'm not in it.
Yeah.
I would do the 1, 2, 3 turn around. People would walk towards you. And once they go past that count of 3 and turn around and they were looking at me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's one of them things, you accept that that's what it is. That's what it's going to be for the rest of your natural life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So am I going to spend my time doing 1, 2, 3, turn around? Like, what are you looking at? What's your problem? You know, and then I'd walk with people who I'd be like, you know, walking with my head up. And one of the reasons I walk with my head up is because I don't want to have to look at you looking at me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Side-eyeing me or thinking, I wonder how she does that or what. You know, I don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't need to take that in.
Yeah.
Now, you know what someone told me about, it was years back, but a guy told me a good way for some people to have something wrong with them, disfiguration, whatever it might be, whatever new word to say. He said, go around young kids. Because they'll be honest with, like, what's wrong with you? How did that happen? And he said that got him through. He had an arm missing. He said that got him through that talking to kids, being around a lot of kids, because they'll come at you straight.
Right.
He said by the time I get to the adults, I don't care nothing about them. But he said the kids got him through, a little kid, because they'll come out.
Out of there. Have you ever worked like a regular job and
Lots
then
of times.
transitioned into just doing it?
Lots of times.
How was that transition for you? Because you have to really trust God to say, I'm going to do this full time. You got to really get your hustle on.
Really.
What was that transition for you going to a regular job, going into full time sewing?
Well, with me, I'm an absolute person. It's either this today and that tomorrow. So, but I'm building up to it. I'm building up to the quit. So I would have a regular job. I would do the regular job to the best of my ability, but I would also have my side hustle would be my gift, my calling. And so I would go and get orders and this, that, and the other and make stuff up and either take it to stores and have them put it in stores. I was always on my grind as far as that was concerned, and that was always after the job, like evenings and weekends. And then you build it up until it can no longer stay as a hobby or as a part-time. And initially, obviously, everything's like, yay, because to be talented as a seamstress or a designer is one thing. To be talented as a business person is completely different. It's because a lot of people have got gifts in their field, but having the business thing,
Exactly.
that's the biggest kicker. That's the one that you've got to get right, because you can sit there and be a great anything, but if you can't get that to the people that want your greatness, you won't be sitting by yourself broke.
Yeah.
So, one of the things they do when you do like business plans and everything, they ask you who is your target audience. You've got to find that from the gate.
So that's the first thing.
Right.
Find out who
You
your
got-
target
Yeah,
is.
you got, and it's who is interested in your product, who would buy your product, and that's who you've got to market to. That's who you've got to focus on. This day and age is really great because you've got social media and they've got all the analytics and all this back stuff that you can check out. But I would initially say do all your background work while you're on a paycheck.
Now, when you say background work, go more into depth. with
Okay,
that.
basically, so you got a job, it's 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever those hours are. Now, supposing you're in your job and you need to source some information, like the best place to buy, I don't know, t-shirts, paint, whatever. You can do that.
Don't be giving out secrets when we be at our job. No, for real. Go ahead.
You can do
I
that.
feel you, though.
You can do that on your job, maybe on your break time,
Yeah.
or on your lunch time. You can source, where you need to, and also like if you're filling out forms or whatever, you can do that on your off time. If you have any vacation time, that's what it goes on. It goes on your business. So you're not just vacationing and just sitting in the house. You're actually doing it for a reason. Maybe you've got a show coming up or something. You signed yourself up for the show and you need them few extra days off work. So basically you build everything around your job, but the job is obviously your meat and potatoes.
Exactly.
And then once you start getting yourself out into the community and building a name for yourself and building clientele, that's when you can start to just like with the job.
Do you think that it's been a big change from, you know, kind of like back in the day being a seamstress to now? Because I remember back in the day, my mom, I remember I used to always see these little cuttings. She used to make our clothes and whatnot, you know. And it seemed like, and then I remember even in high school, they would have sewing classes.
Right.
And they'd gotten so far away from
Yes.
that, you know.
That's
so,
why I tried to bring it back. I did a Kickstarter campaign. It was called basically I Am There, Therefore I Sew. And it was based on bringing sewing back into schools and communities.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I set up a studio. I have sewing machines in there. I have people from the community, from outside the community, from all over, coming and learning to sew. And I mean, when you see a kid getting out of a car and running towards your class,
Wow.
and discovering things about themselves that they didn't know. You know, one girl came in, I think she was like 7, and she knew how to drape a dress. That takes like years.
Really?
But she was natural with it. And then you have people who, like last night's class, a girl was like, I've never sewn nothing before in my life. But she was able to, I said to her, somebody in your family sews. Because you've got skills that you've witnessed, but you may not have got in front of a sewing machine. So we do all ages. We start at 6 and up, and people come in there to make quilts for their common grandchildren. You know, it's a joy to see the resurgence of sewing again, and you know, sewing machines are being sold more, and I just think it's amazing because it's a skill that you can do with friends. You can do it in your quiet times, but it actually brings you so much peace. And then when you have something that is like custom made and that nobody has got, then that's a feeling that like no other. I've had one of my students saying that somebody broke their neck. She had a dress that she made after taking my class, and she was wearing it, and someone broke the neck to get across the street, and they were like, well, where did you get that dress? And she said, I had the biggest smile on my face and the biggest satisfaction saying like, I made it myself. This is custom made. You know what I'm saying? So it gives you a sense of achievement too.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you're looking at it like from the negative side, if you're sitting there and you've got ailments and you know, and all this kind of stuff, but you can get involved in something that you really love and you're really passionate about, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Like some people will, you know, have comfort things that they do that they like doing, that they hoard stuff. Mine's fabric. I'm crazy.
You can go downtown and just spend all day. Spend all day in there.
And
Huh?
I've took some of my friends with me. They're like, I'm not coming with you no more.
I know. Kelsey walks me to, oh my
Exactly,
gosh.
and then they get the fever, and then they're running around all crazy, and we're just, you know, it's just a hot mess.
Because as you get there, you get more and more ideas.
Right.
How long does it take you to even do, like, say, an outfit, in a sense, like pants and a shirt?
A couple hours, probably.
Yeah, for anything from a couple of hours to, you know, if it's real intricate, you know, a day.
Because I've always wondered about seamstress is because sometimes, you know, some people procrastinate even though they're good at what they do. And it seems like it takes them a long time to get out these outfits, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, they backed up type of deal.
Well, it depends on what system you have. Also, what I do a lot of times is I cut out stuff. So I might have a whole table full of stuff that's already cut out. So then I can just go to it.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? So that's half of it for me. The sewing is not the battle. The sewing is the cutting out and getting it, because it's custom. Yeah. And then you've got to have fittings in between and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's still a joy. It's still a joy to be able to construct something from nothing. Right. And it's a joy for people to be able to come in and they've got this idea and they're like frustrated that they've got this idea and they don't know how to make it manifest. Right. And then when you manifest it for them, that gives them joy, and it gives me joy because I've completed, a task.
Yeah. Now you've owned a business before. What are some of the things that you learned having your own business, your own store, that you can give to other people? Like I know you said learning the business, that's the top of the priority. Right. But share that experience.
Okay, so it's kind of like if you want to do something, then you just say, that's what I'm doing. And anything to the right or the left of it, I'm not interested in, because you've got to be 100,000% focused. So as far as like owning a business, I I've had my business has taken different forms. So I've had clothing stores in London. I've had clothing stores on Melrose. I do a lot of custom stuff now, and then the sewing classes. And it's basically been number one, you have to be adaptable to wherever you are, circumstance-wise, wherever you are. If all you can do to get started is to sew a few things and go to a flea market and sell them, do that. You know what I'm saying? That's where it at, because then you can grow from there. But my thing is, you have to do something.
Got to do the work.
Thinking about it ain't gonna cut it. You've actually got to physically do it. And even if you say, I don't think this is gonna work, or any of the negativities, or if you talk to your negative friends and they start telling you, don't do this, okay, come on, or you just have to cut them off and just get up and say, okay, this is what I'm planning to do. And even if it's a step-by-step thing, even if it's just like, okay, today I'm going to buy the fabric. Tomorrow I'm actually going to cut it out. Thursday I'm going to put it all together. Friday I'm going to sell it. So you literally have to plan it out day by day, and then you have to stick to what you plan.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen an outfit like on TV where they was like selling it for like maybe $180,000 dress or something? You look at it like, I can make a better dress than that for cheaper.
Or I can duplicate it.
All the time.
But does it make sense to you?
Yeah, it's just like in any field, like if you was a singer and you saw someone sing, I can do it better than that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's that kind of thing. Of course I can duplicate it, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, because it's a case of manipulating fabric. That's what it is. And it's a case of, if somebody else, another human, can do it, then I can do it too.
Right, exactly.
It's that kind of it's that kind of mentality.
But like, as far as the material wise, is it? I mean, what I'm saying is, when you look at an outfit, right, and it's this so high price outfit, but do you look at it like,
I know what it costs?
It's just regular material. Do you
I know
look at
already what it costs. I know what it costs, and I know that a lot of times the stuff that's made, like the high end stuff that's made in factories, they make the same other stuff that's low priced in.
I know exactly. Just different name brand.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, correct me, Lilian, if I'm wrong in what I've been told in the past. That a lot of times you can get material, things that look the same, but you look at the thread, you look at the buttons and how it was sewed. Because a lot of times they give you cheap threading in some stuff, and sometimes they give you buttons that are real cheapy buttons. Is that true?
Yeah. Obviously, that makes your accessories and your thread and the way it's sewn obviously make a difference. Now, I'm not saying, because I do go into the high-end stores and I love the way they sew stuff, but you can still get that same kind of sewing but the clothing don't cost as much. So that's just factual. Then there is obviously another end of the market where they lash the stuff together, and they do it as quickly as possible and as cheaply as possible. So they'll use bits of fabric instead of like using the full length, so they'll have seams and
pieces
stuff, pieces and seams and stuff.
So is
like
that the Walmart, Target type stuff?
I don't want to call names.
My bad.
I'm trying to get her.
I'm just saying.
They're on a blacklist, bro. She knew what to say though. She said, "Whoop."
But stores of that, whatever.
Yeah.
Your card just got ripped up, Casey. Your Walmart card.
Good.